Good day, everyone. Before I start my presentation, I would like to express my gratitude to International Institute of Academic Research and Publications for giving me an opportunity to present my paper entitled Community Involvement in the Rehabilitation and Treatment of Persons Deprived of Liberty. My name is Cherry Reamico, and I obtained my bachelor degree in criminology from University of Northeastern Philippines in Iriga City. I also obtained my master's degree in criminology at Bicol College, Daraga Albay, Philippines, and I am presently enrolled in Doctor of Philosophy in Criminal Justice with a specialization in criminology at University of Cordilleras, Baguio City, Philippines. Currently, I am also the Assistant Dean of the College of Criminal Justice Education Department at Holy Trinity College of Camarines Sur in Batu, Camarines Sur, Philippines. The Philippines has a moderately high rate of crime, violence, and terrorism. In 2020, the country was on the bottom 5 of the Order and Security Index ranking across the Asia-Pacific region. On Article 3 of Section 19 of the 1987 Constitution, mandates that the use of substandard or inadequate penal facilities under subhuman conditions shall be dealt with by law. Therefore, there are enough bases in the Constitution and in our internationally binding commitments to pursue changes in our corrections and jail system. But more than this, legal imperatives, realities on the ground should compel our policymakers to push for the much needed reform. This study intends to determine and analyze the community involvement in the rehabilitation and treatment of the person deprived of liberty, or PDL, in the 5th District of Camarines Sur. This will evaluate the extent of implementation of the community involvement in the rehabilitation and treatment of the person deprived of liberty at the Iriga District Jail, the 5th District of Camarines Sur. This also identifies problems encountered in the implementation of the community involvement in the rehabilitation and the treatment of the PDLs. And this also determines the other recommended measures that will further strengthen the implementation of the community involvement in the rehabilitation and treatment of the PDL. Important to determine and evaluate the community involvement in the rehabilitation and treatment of PDL towards helping them develop appreciation and respect for the law, in turn reduce their tendencies to recidivate, and prepare them for reintegration and society. So this study aimed to determine and analyze the community involvement in the rehabilitation of the PDL in the 5th District of Camarines Sur. Specifically, it sought answers to the following problems. What is the extent of implementation of the community involvement in the rehabilitation of treatment of the persons deprived of liberty at the Iriga City District Jail, 5th District of Camarines Sur, and what are the problems encountered in the implementation of community involvement in the rehabilitation and treatment of the PDL? And lastly, what other measures may be recommended to further strengthen the implementation of community involvement in the rehabilitation and treatment of the descriptive survey analysis was used in determining the community involvement in the rehabilitation and treatment of PDLs as perceived by the purposively sampled Bureau of Correction personnel and the randomly selected persons deprived of liberty, or PDL. Moreover, the problems encountered in implementing the programs were also looked into. So the study has two groups of respondents with a total number of 13, and specifically these groups are represented by the 4 BUCOR or Bureau of Correction personnel and 9 randomly selected PDLs. The BUCOR personnel were purposefully sampled while the PDLs were chosen using the random sampling. Researcher-made survey questionnaire was used in knowing and evaluating the respondents' opinions, since they are the persons involved in the formulation and implementation of the programs, and interview methods was also used in verifying data that needs some clarification as needed. So, based from the data gathered, the study concluded that on the extent of implementation of the community involvement and rehabilitation and treatment of the PDL at the Irigas District Jail, 5th District of Camarines Sur, it is found that it is strong along the moral and spiritual programs, and also in education and training program, and needs further improvement on its sports and recreation program, behavior modification program, and health and welfare program. As to the problems encountered in the implementation of community involvement in the rehabilitation and treatment of the persons deprived of liberty, it was identified that insufficiency of fund and lack of available physical facilities needs preferential attention to further enhance its program implementation. And on the measures recommended to further strengthen the implementation of community involvement in the rehabilitation and treatment of the persons deprived of liberty, it focused primarily on the partially implemented programs or activities and the serious problems identified by the two groups of respondents. So, next steps are to have a more effective reformation programs among the PDLs, and there should be harmonious and integrated program anchored on the therapeutic community modality, restorative justice principles and concepts, and volunteer probation aids. Provision for additional funding requirements, especially on the establishment of physical facilities at the Irigas District Jail and other similar units, and the suggested other measures may be considered, which may further strengthen the implementation of the community involvement in the rehabilitation and treatment of the PDL. Here is the survey questionnaire used for the research. Also included is the statistical computation of responses using the weighted mean. So that would be all. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great day.